everybody. This is Teddy with Ready Rosie, and I'm excited that you all have joined us this afternoon. We got just a little bit of a late start because I was reading all the introductions in the chat section of where everyone was from. And I have to say, I'm just always intrigued and amazed by technology, that we can all be gathered, people from North Carolina to Atlanta to the West Coast, and then even people from Plano in my backyard, since I'm in the Dallas area. It was fun seeing some familiar names that have been on some of our previous webinars, and then also some new people, some new users. So welcome to our teacher chat this afternoon. I'm Teddy, as I said, and I'm one of the partners success managers, and I also am the director of professional development at Ready Rosie. And I'll let Anna say a couple things.
Hi everyone, my name is Anna Blagojevich, and I am actually here in Knoxville, Tennessee, so yet another area of the country. We're so glad that you could join us. I am the community engagement coordinator here, so if you have any ideas about what you'd like to see in future webinars or newsletters, you can send those thoughts my way. But we're really excited to talk about summer learning resources today, and I'm gonna hand it back over to Teddy. But before I do, just a couple housekeeping things. If you can use the Q&A button that you see down on the dashboard below to send any questions to us, I will either get back to you in real time, or we have a question answer section at the end, or if we have a lot of questions come in and we don't get to answer your question during the webinar, we'll be sure to follow up with you afterwards. So with that, I think we can get going, and I'll hand it back over to you, Teddy.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. So this afternoon, we're going to be talking about the Summer Soar and or Summer Slide, whichever way you want to kind of look at it. And then we also have a couple new features that we're really excited about that we'll be sharing with you. I personally know, from having been in the classroom for a long, long time, and then having a daughter and daughter-in-law who are still in a classroom, that this is a really very, very busy time of year for all of you. It's a crazy time. Everyone has mixed emotions, those mixed feelings. If you're like I was, and like people that I know, you are concerned about those kiddos that you have now. You have those kiddos that they're not exactly where you had hoped they would be. They are where they are, but maybe you had hoped that they would be a little bit farther along, and you're trying to figure out what you can do in these last weeks to get them where they need to be. You're also excited because summer's coming, and maybe you've got that great vacation planned, or maybe you're just looking for time to recoup and get some energy back. And I know, because all of our partners are really conscientious teachers, that you're also concerned about those kiddos and what they'll be doing over this summer. And you want them to have time to enjoy their summer and interacting with their families. You also, I know, are concerned about where they're going to come back at the end of the summer. There were many years when I wanted to run to that next teacher, that next grade teacher, and say about a particular child, he really did know this in May when he left me. I'm not sure what happened over the summer, but we know that kids digress over the summer. So all those feelings are natural, and we all share them. So our first poll question is, what is your biggest concern this time of year? So Anna, and there are your choices: end of year reports, admin work, concern that students won't be prepared for next year, trying to combat physical and mental end of the year exhaustion, deciding what color to paint your classroom or office, or maybe you're trying to decide what your theme's going to be for next year. And then also, at this time of year, you might be concerned about running out of paper between now and the end of the year. So go ahead and vote.
All right. just had a motorcycle go by. I don't know.
Oh, I thought maybe it was like a sound effect for the results.
All right, so we will wrap up the poll, and we're not that advanced quite yet. And I can share the results here.
All right, well, it's pretty evenly split there. The biggest concern is that concern about students won't be prepared for next year. And like I said, I just think that's because we're conscientious teachers and we are always concerned about those kiddos. And then we naturally have all that, I guess, unavoidable reports and admin work that has to do. And then I do hope that those of you that are trying to deal or combat the physical and mental end of the year exhaustion, you know, there's a lot of research out now about how it's just as important for teachers to work on their mental state and those social and emotional skills so that you're better prepared to be in the classroom. So I hope that you will take some time to take care of yourselves. So since the number one result was that concern for those kids coming back, or they're not where we want them to be at the end of the year, and so therefore won't maybe be where we had hoped they would be in August, let's take a look at some things. We hear so much about the summer slide, and really honestly, like most things in education, you can find statistics that say that children can lose anywhere from 1 month up to 4 or 5 months of what they've learned through the year. And I think really it's more important to focus on the kinds of things they can lose, the types of things they might lose, and not get hung up on whether they can lose 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. But what are the kinds of things and why do they lose over the summer? And this is a quote from Peter Gray, a researcher, in his article, Do Children Really Learn Less During Summer Vacation? Less of what? And he says that for school children, summer is a time for immersion in real life. School, at best, prepares children for more school. Real life prepares children for real life. And historically, when we've talked about summer support, we've focused on specific skills only. And so maybe, I know when I was in the classroom, I was guilty from time to time of sending home flashcards of sight words that maybe they didn't have by the time the year was over, or I wanted to make sure they kept those words, you know, ever present in their brain so that when they went on into first grade, they would have those sight words that we had learned in kindergarten. So I would send home a set of little flashcards. Or maybe we send home specific math facts that they need, multiplication tables, so that they can keep working on memorizing those to keep those fresh in their mind. But really what Gray says is that assumes that only skills supported in isolation, those skills that can be tested, are important to support over the summer. And Gray found that while some math calculations slip over the summer, actual math reasoning is improved over the summer. And one of the reasons that he found that happens is because kids are using those math skills in real life activities. So that's a big argument for our Summer Soar and getting families to do activities in authentic settings. And so just like us, summer's a time for immersion in real life for our kids, and then using those skills in real life. So in addition to supporting those specific skills that we've learned during the year, and we'll talk about how we do that in just a few minutes, our Summer Soar tools or activities are also going to support that culture of childhood that Gray talks about, that authentic communication, getting along with others as equals, and then creating and understanding the purpose and modifiability of rules. Kids are good about adapting rules to situations. I know I would always prepare a center of a game that I wanted them to play, and then I would go, observe them playing the game, and they had changed the rules. And it didn't even matter that they had changed the rules and they weren't playing it the way I had wanted them to play it. They had modified those rules to fit that situation. So a lot of our activities lend themselves for kids learning how to create and understand the purpose of rules and how they can be modified. This statistic, interestingly, came from the Pew Research in their research study of parenting in America. And they found in their study that 54% of parents said that parents could never be too involved in their child's education. When they asked if they wish they were more involved in their child's education, 46% said they wish that they could be or were more involved. So I think that's interesting. Now, you might have a parent that you think, oh, I think you're involved enough in your child's education. But 54% believe that they can never be too involved. And I think that's really important for us to remember. And then that 46 wish that they were even more involved. So basically, parents aren't out there saying, oh, we're too involved, we need to back off a little bit. They feel like they could be doing more. And we think at Ready Rosie, with our Summer Soar tools, materials, that we give families that opportunity to be more involved with their children. Interestingly, children in that lower income bracket from lower income families do experience a bigger loss in their learning over the summer than their counterparts in higher families that earn more. And one of the theories for why this happens is because of what's called the Faucet Theory. And when you think about it, resources are flowing from the school all during the school year. There's a constant flow of additional resources during the year. And you guys do a great job of making sure children have those resources that they need. We provide a lot of resources, from field trips to virtual field trips to bringing in, special programs, special assemblies. But in the summer, when you think about it, and they're not in school, those resources are turned off for a lot of our children. Many children can't go to day camp or summer camp or music camp or theater camp. Many children don't have access or the availability to museums or art exhibits like a lot of our children from higher income families. And so that's another reason why sometimes that summer slide happens, because those resources that have been readily available to them that the school has provided no longer exist in the summer. So at Ready Rosie, we believe our Summer Soar is a win-win-win. We support the skills over the summer in authentic ways. We validate childhood. Our activities are through play, which, as we all know, is the work of children. We provide opportunities for families to be engaged and provide resources that might not otherwise be available. But don't take our word for it. Let's watch a couple little testimonials.
Our summer was different because of the summer learning program. It really encouraged us to use different ways of thinking, gave us ideas of things that we could do that normally we wouldn't have. It really gave us fun learning activities. I mean, even the older kids enjoyed all of the games that we got to play, so it didn't feel like we had to do homework or schoolwork every day. It was actually fun learning, and they didn't even really realize that it was all learning. It really helps them kind of keep their brains working throughout the summer and kind of gets them prepared to move right into the next year.
What I liked was that we were doing learning games, and I didn't even know that they were learning games. We got to do funny things like the reading. We did stuff that we haven't done before.
So our summer was different because of the reading program, mainly because we were getting the text messages and emails, which kept us thinking about how we were incorporating education and reading and activities with the whole family. consistently throughout the summer. Actually, both my children were more prepared for going back to school. He was reading frequently and at a much higher level than just at the beginning of the summer.
My favorite thing about the Summer Learning program was the games. We made funny toys.
Bueno, nuestro verano fue muy diferente a otros debido a que incorporamos el programa en nuestras actividades diarias y formó parte de nuestra vida y nos ayudó mucho en interactuar más con los niños y leer, fomentar la lectura, algo que a veces se olvida rápidamente. Sí recomiendo el programa porque ayuda mucho a las familias a incorporar partes educativas en la vida diaria.
And that video is available, and so you can use it to share with your families to introduce the Summer Soar tools. You can use it at you can use it on your social media account to get the video in front of your families. You can show at the end of your year activities, because we know that a lot of times when families hear from other families, other caregivers, it's a great way to motivate them. The video also is available in Spanish. And so there are 3 steps for our Summer Soar tools. The first step is to use the month of May, or start now, to make sure that every one of your families has received and has accepted their Ready Rosie invitation. And you can find that out by, you can double check when you go to your dashboard and you go to your classroom. Next to that Classrooms tab is a Manage Classroom tab. And once you click on Manage Classrooms, you'll see a little button that says Resend Pending Invitations. Now, some of our partners have said that they look at that and they go ahead and resend that immediately, and then they make sure they have a list of those names so that they can grab them at pickup or drop off, or when they see them, to remind them to accept that invitation. You can also use your parent-teacher conference times coming up here at the end of the year, your school parties, award ceremonies, any time that you might see parents between now and the end of the year, to remind them to accept that invitation from us. Step 2 is to print the Summer Soar tools for each child. And I'm going to talk about these individually in just a minute, but there are 2 that I think are pretty critical that you'll want to print for every child, and then the playlist we'll talk about in just a second. Then step 3 is families will automatically receive the Summer Soar weekly playlist with our authentic activities to do. They'll start receiving the playlist on June 3rd. They'll receive 10 consecutive weeks of playlists. The last one will be sent August 5th, right before most of them go back to school. The playlists are going to support literacy skills, math skills, and social and emotional learning skills. They're specifically designed to build fun ways for families to enjoy learning together, all the while supporting skills that they've learned during the year. We have a set of playlists that reach birth through pre-K, and then a set of playlists that are appropriate for kindergarten through 3rd grade. And as with all of our materials, they're available in English and Spanish. And so this is right here, this is what the week 1 would look like. So the first thing that you'd want to print off is our letter home. It's written from the child's perspective of what their dream summer would be. And it's interesting because I think a lot of times as adults, we have this preconceived idea of what a child's perfect summer or dream summer is. But sometimes it's just playing with mom, or playing in the backyard, or playing with the dog. So they're going to draw or write what their dream summer would be. They address it to mom and dad. It includes a description of the types of activities that the family will be getting. And this can be a quick 10-minute activity. It can be in a station. It can be done before it's time to go home. And then they take it home and give it to their family. It comes in English and Spanish. This year, we've added the QR code so that if your families are used to using a QR code, they can just scan it and it will take them automatically to the Summer Soar activities that are on the website. Some of our partners last summer encouraged their families or their kiddos to bring it back in August. Some of them personalized the letter or edited it to add that if they bring it back in August, they would get a little surprise, they'd get a hug from the teacher, however you want to, do that. The second piece that is probably, well, it might even be more critical than the letter home, is our adventure game board. And again, this is for all grade levels, so you could use it for your little bitties up through 3rd grade. But it's a game board that lays out the themes for the summer for our 10 weeks. Again, children can bring it back at the end of the summer to get a surprise or a hug or a sticker or whatever. And the teacher, then that next year's teacher, will have data on the activities the child did over the summer. And I think that's pretty cool. You can see, oh wow, he played all these games that supported fractions that they had learned the previous year. So he should still be in a good place with fractions. Or they did all the rhyming games, and so rhyming should still be, up there with good skills starting the year. We want our families learning and playing together and having fun. All of these resources can be found under the resource tab. Almost to the bottom, there's a section that says Summer Soar. So when you go to resources on your dashboard, just look for the big bucket that says Summer Soar. The kids can decide how they want to keep track of when they've done the activities for the week. They can color the week in as they do those activities. I've seen some where kids have put a sticker on it. They've drawn a smiley face. I saw one that was returned where they had just put a check on it. So however they want to keep track of it is up to them. The nice thing about this game board, if you have children of your own, is that it's a good reminder to their families to play the game. Children do an amazing job reminding their families of what they need to do. One of our partners was sharing with Melissa Nast that she calls it the pester power. Kids pester us to do a lot of things. So this is positive pestering. So that power of pestering, where if they have that game board, they'll be more likely to say, hey, we need to do our activities for this week. We need to play our games for this week. I haven't crossed off this week yet, or I haven't colored this week yet. So I think this is a really fun way for them to keep track of doing all the activities during the summer. Then the playlist, we also have available playlists that you can print out in the Summer Soar tools. Now, no one put that trying to conserve paper, being concerned about running out of paper was a concern on our first question. However, I know for a lot of schools, everyone is trying to be conscientious of the amount of paper that they print off. So you might not want to print off all 10 playlists for your families. Maybe have some available, maybe just print them off for the families that aren't accessing the activities online. Some of you all send your playlists home already, so that's up to you. The parents don't have to have a hard copy of the playlist in order to do the activities, but know that they're there, they're available if you want to send a hard copy home. That QR code on the game board and the letter will take them to the playlist online. So it's not imperative that they have the copy. It is nice in a way because they can, although they can do it on the video too, but on this sheet, they can record how it went or make a comment and bring it back in the fall if they want to do that. But know that that's not a necessary thing. So just a couple of the modeled moments that we have on our Summer Soar. For week 1, the theme is make this a summer of memorable adventures. And again, I think it's important for us to remember that every child's idea of an adventure is going to be different. My little granddaughter, who is 6, this morning before school was on an adventure wearing her little swim goggles running around in the backyard. I don't know what kind of adventure she was on, but she was telling me she was on a great adventure with her goggles. So I might not think that's an adventure, but to a 6-year-old, that's a very exciting adventure. So they might be making a treasure map, and when they are making a treasure map, they're thinking about and using map skills. They're deepening their understanding of spatial reasoning, the ability to think about and reason with objects and locations. They're also really creating functional text because we read maps in real life. For the K through 3rd, they're building a fort. And so when they're building a fort, they're developing their inner engineer. They have to plan. They have to have a plan. They have to test it. They have to problem solve, create, and learn how to work together as a team. In week 6, they're going to play a game while they're out and about, a category game. And so maybe the category is transportation, or maybe it's trucks. And so they're going to be identifying as they're driving around with you in the car, trucks or types of transportation. So not only are you supporting oral language, you're building that vocabulary, and you're also supporting categorizing. Books on the go for the K through 3rd kiddos is reinforcing taking books with you wherever you go, not only just to read at night before you go to bed, but to read and then talk about those books. And so this activity is modeling, talking about that book that your child is reading. What is your book about? Why'd you choose the book? What's your favorite part so far? What do you want to read next? If it's a fiction book, it's a perfect way to talk about what's happening in the book so far and getting our kinder kids and first graders to understand that beginning, middle, end. Sequencing, which then leads to, as they elaborate more on that, into summarization, which is a skill that every child needs by 3rd grade if they live in the state of Texas. So if they're reading a nonfiction book, getting them to talk about that table of contents. What do you think you're going to learn in chapter 1, or what do you think you're going to learn in chapter 2? So just really immersing them in talking about books. Week 8, they're going to cook up some fun in the kitchen, again, building that vocabulary. Then the older kids are going to, making Play-Doh or something else, but basically following a recipe. And I'm always surprised, and I shouldn't be, but I'm always surprised by the number of children who learn fractions, but don't understand that the fractions that they see in a recipe are the fractions that they've been talking about in school. And so this particular activity is an excellent way to use fractions in a real life, authentic situation. And remember, Grace said that math reasoning increases over the summer when we're doing real life activities. So we feel that our Ready Rosie Summer Soar lays the rails or the train tracks for the fall. In addition to supporting learning over the summer, it's our hope that when school starts again in the fall, your families will have developed the routine of watching the modeled moments. If those rails are in place, they've got a routine going in supporting learning at home. And we want them to keep that on then through the fall, since they already started it over the summer, to keep that home learning going once they come back. And remember, 56% of parents said they could never be too involved, and 46% said they wanted to be even more involved than what they are. So we really feel that our Summer Soar allows that to happen. So real quickly, where are you, or how are you feeling about our Summer Soar materials? And while you're answering that, I'm excited, I'm ready to implement. This looks interesting, but I'd love to talk with someone more about this. I don't see this working with our school program. So while you're answering that, just in a little recap, our Summer Soar supports those skills that are learned during the school year in authentic situations, allowing children to internalize those skills It keeps the resource faucet running for those children who might not otherwise have access to activities. It gives children time to play and continue to play together. And it encourages play through our activities, which, as I said, you all know, is the work of childhood. And then all of our tools can be found under resources/Summer Soar. So once Anna feels that everyone has weighed in, we'll lock in our votes.
All right, and please don't hesitate to let Teddy or I know if you think that you like some parts of this, but you're not quite sure. We'd be happy to talk with you about trying to work through some of those barriers or how you might be able to adapt or implement in a different way too. All right.
And after we share the results, there are a couple new features that I want to share with you all. Okay, yay! 94% said that they're excited and they're ready to implement, and know that we are always here to support you. And then a couple people don't see this working with their school program, and I'd love for you to email us and let us know why, and see if we can work through that with you, or what it is that we might want to change for next summer so that you do see it working with your program. So the new features that I wanted to share with you, I think are really, really exciting. And as with so many of our improvements that we make, these came from things that you guys have said to us. So now we actually have right there, when you're in your playlist editor, when you're creating your own customized playlist, a Browse Standards button. Or not really a button, but you can click on Browse Standards instead of having to open up another tab, go to Standards Alignment, and it was just awkward to have to do that. So now you just click on Browse Standards, and that takes you automatically to the Standards Alignment page. And if some of you all are thinking, oh, I didn't even know we had that. Well, now you know, and you know how easy it is to access it. So when you get to this page, you'll just choose, I'm elementary, I'm pre-K, or I'm infant toddler. Then you'll get the drop down for whichever one you choose. And from that screen, you'll choose your grade, your state or the standards that you're following. So in my example, I've chosen Texas because that's where I am, and first grade. When your standards come up, you can either scroll down to find the standards that you want. If you have your standards memorized, I don't, then you can just do a Control F for 1.3b because I know that's addition. Or if you're like me, I don't remember what addition is, so I just did a Control F for addition and then scroll to the particular standard that I wanted. So right here for 1.3b of the first grade Texas standards, use objects and pictorial models to solve word problems. We've listed the Ready Rosie modeled moments that actually support that standard. Now, if you are pre-K, when you go to your standards, the videos that are listed have a hyperlink. So all you'd have to do is click right there on Bedtime Math Story, if that was the one you wanted, and it would take you automatically to that video. Candace Grover, who is our alignment guru, has been working fast and furiously. So pre-K is done. If you are kindergarten, you'll need to copy the name. You would need to copy Bedtime Math Story and then paste it back in your playlist editor to go to the video. But just accessing the standards is a lot easier and faster now. So that's one of the new features available to you. The second one that I think is really, really exciting is a comments tab on the video landing page. you can see the comments that your families have left for you if you click on your little envelope on your dashboard. If you go to your playlist report, you can see those comments listed. But now, if you're on a video, if the family or if a caregiver has left comments, a tab will show up that says comments. And when you click on that, all of the comments that you and your caregivers have made will be listed. You are the only one that can see all of those comments that everybody's made. As a caregiver, as a mom, if I click on that video, I will only see comments if I have left a comment and you have answered my comment. So we've maintained the privacy so families can't see each other's comments that they've listed. If no one has commented on a video, that comment tab will not show up. So if you're perusing videos and you see that comment tab, click on it. That means that a caregiver has left a comment. The last new feature that I want to share with you, and this, we had been getting a lot of requests for this. You can now print your playlist report. When you are in your playlist and you go over here to the 3 buttons on your playlist next to edit playlist, create copy, you can print on report. That's been there. You guys have been clicking on that and it shows you this playlist report where it shows the videos that you've listed on that. If my picture example were bigger, it would show the children's names down the side, the time stamp that they watched the video, whether they liked it, thumbs up, thumbs down, if they've left a comment, all of that is captured right there. Well, so many of you all said, that's great. We love seeing that report, but we want to print it because we want to have documentation, kind of documentation for that home learning that they're doing. What are they doing at home to support what we're teaching in the classroom? And so now you can. When you are in that view of the playlist report, just click on right here, print report, and that report prints out and you have it for your documentation. And so again, keep those suggestions coming. We want to know how we can make your life easier using Ready Rosie and what Ready Rosie can do to help take something off your plate. So our new features more often than not come from suggestions from you guys. So keep them coming. So that is all that we wanted to share with you this afternoon. And so I think the most favorite part of most of the people's time when they're watching the webinar is our giveaway. And Anna gets a big shout out and kudos. She has figured out a way that when you complete the survey, it's kind of a little quick reflection thing, you'll be entered in to win a class set of dice. But you will also, Anna figured out how you will also get your certificate automatically. So you don't have to wait on either Anna or me or someone else to fix the certificate and get it sent out. So Anna is going to put that link in the chat box. So look for the survey link in the chat box and you'll click on that, fill out the survey, and when you're done, your certificate will be sent to you.
And we did have a couple of quick questions, Teddy.
Okay, good.
The first one, and I'm just adding the survey link now, and I'm also going to be sending a follow-up email with the recording of the webinar and the survey link in case you've missed any of that. Okay, here's the survey link. There was a question about the browse standards button. I believe that it's only visible right now in the teacher view in Share, but I know it's our tech team is working on adding that to the administrator view as well. So if you don't see it now, I did put in the chat the link that will take you to the browse standards page that
oh, cool. Okay.
the administrators and anyone else can access. And and peruse that as well. Another question is if the summer SOAR activities are available for 0 to 5. And we do have playlists for both pre-K and for elementary. The pre-K playlists have several different videos within them, and one of those videos is a Ready Baby video. Does that sound right, Teddy? Is there anything to add?
I think that is right. I think that is right. And the game board is the same for, you know, all ages. But if I'm a 4-year-old or a 3-year-old teacher, I'm going to send that same adventure game board home, but the playlist will be age appropriate for the age that I'm teaching. If I'm a first grade teacher, I'm going to send that same game board home because the themes are the same, but Create Your Own Adventure or Cooking Up Fun in the Kitchen will have activities that are age appropriate for the elementary age kiddos, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and there are some questions about particular standards, and we'll get back to you.
Yes.
Have your questions saved, so.
Yeah. I think that's good. Thanks.
And yeah, feel free to put any additional questions or comments that come up. You can add them in the survey, or shoot Teddy or I an email, and we'll get back to you. So.
And so that concludes our teacher chat for this afternoon, for this month. We'll visit with you next month. But thank you for joining us. We know that you guys are so busy, and I truly appreciate you all taking the time to join us. So we'll see you next month. Bye.